here again from the 410 Bridge. This is Tuesday, April 21st, and this is our weekly update for the country of Haiti as it relates to our COVID relief efforts. There are currently this week 47 confirmed cases in Haiti. They're reporting 3 deaths due to the virus, and they're not reporting any recoveries yet. I'm not sure they're even tracking that. Keep in mind that, again, that number is super low because they don't really have accurate testing, robust testing in the country. They're trying to prioritize the limited number of tests that they have to healthcare workers and so forth. So it's really difficult to tell how many cases of COVID-19 are in Haiti. I'm going to provide a little bit more information this week on actual initiatives that 410 has undertaken over the last week. So this video may be a little bit longer than the normal ones. Education and food distribution are still the number 1 and 2 priorities. As you know, most of our people in our communities, don't have access to accurate information. There's a lot of misinformation out there, and so they don't have access to printed materials, TV or radio networks, social networks, and so forth. So through our staff, through the local leaders, the churches, the schools, we are trying to disseminate as much information as we can about hygiene, physical distancing, and so forth. And so we've created brochures in Creole that we've posted in and around the community. We're actually handing those out at the family level as well to educate people. We are educating our staff to continue as they go and interact with these communities that they're taking proper social distancing efforts and abiding by the Haiti authorities' laws and guidance, as well as just common sense around social distancing, masks, gloves, and so forth. And then we've also put together a document that we distributed to the leadership councils to talk about 410 Bridge's responsibilities during this pandemic and then their responsibilities and the community's responsibilities. And we've been pretty excited to see how the communities, the leaders, the schools, the churches, and so forth have all stepped up to really lead this effort and participate. As it relates to food security, that again is a big issue. Over the last week or so, let me start with, since Haiti declared a state of emergency, prices for food immediately went up. Local markets have been closed. The flea markets are either closed or have very limited hours. So for us, in Haiti specifically, our first priority in phase 1 was to help the sponsored children. There's about 700 plus children in Haiti that are sponsored through 410 and helping their families. And so that's the first thing we did was in the food kits that we've distributed in phase 1. It's been rice, corn peas, sugar, flour, etc. We've also put some hygiene kits in place, barred soap, liquid soap, and sanitary kits so that we could help those families of our sponsored children. So as of today, 718 sponsored families, families of sponsored children have been helped with food kits. We had a little bit of surplus left after doing that. And so we've distributed a total of 752 food kits over the last week or so. And the difference between the 718 and the 752 were these were identified very vulnerable families, elderly, special needs, disabled, pregnant women, child-led households or women-led households that have been prioritized by the community to get that surplus. So that's our phase 1. We're being told now that phase 2 is coming and it's imminent. It's really hard to tell at this point exactly how many families will require help with the food scarcity issue, but it's anywhere between another 1,000 and 2,000 homes. We're getting the community's leaders and the churches to identify those families specifically, and so over the next week or so, we should have more information on that. The community contribution has been really rewarding to see how the community has stepped up and done their part. The leaders, community coordinators, the school principals, they've all provided supplies for the food kits, for the packaging of the food kits. They provided transportation costs for the leaders and the food within the community. They've been very active in the dissemination of information and training in the communities, and so we're really, really excited about that. We've also been working with the local authorities, the ASECs, the CASECs, city delegates, the mayors, and the authorities have really been very supportive of 410 Bridge's efforts with the community leaders in their communities. So we're excited about that. In total, there's been about 126 active volunteers in our communities These are LCs, LC presidents, vice presidents, secretaries, treasurers, the LC members themselves, school principals, the teachers in the schools have all been involved in the planning and the implementation of these relief efforts. And so we're really excited about how they've stepped up. No, people aren't just standing in line waiting for us to hand them these food kits. The communities are really active in helping solve their own problems. So again, about 752 families have been impacted so far in Haiti. Our efforts are not without their challenges. I wanted to share a little bit about that. We're learning and continuing to refine the consistent application of kind of the methodologies, if you will, around distribution and preparation of the kits. There's been some inconsistencies on that, so we're working hard to educate our local leaders around how to do that as safely as they can. Precautionary measures aren't being fully adopted by the Haitian communities, and so we're looking to continually train, continually make them aware of how to do that well. And there's been a problem in some of our communities with some community members complaining that only sponsored children have been benefiting from the food kits. And so there are other vulnerable people that don't have sponsored children in our communities. And again, we're trying to identify those and begin the implementation or the preparation for phase 2 of food distribution over the coming weeks. So we'll have more information for you in the next week or so about how many families there are, but we estimate it's going to be between 1,000 and 2,000 more families that are going to need help. And then the other problem is really there's some skepticism still in the communities around the reality and the existence of COVID-19. Some mistrust, and some community members still aren't believing that this is a real virus and a real problem. And so we're continuing trying to, through the local leaders in the churches, explain to them the proper hygiene and social distancing necessary to prevent it. The good news is that it's been amazing to watch 410, the local leaders, and the community members come together in record time, really, to create an emergency plan and then implement that plan in really the matter of a couple weeks. We've been able to intervene in our communities and implement quickly, and so that's been exciting to see. We couldn't do that without your support, but also we couldn't do that without the support of the local leaders and the community members themselves. We're continuing to be told that 410 Bridge is one of the first, if not only, organizations working in the communities to help the most vulnerable in their communities. So there's a lot of gratitude, enthusiasm around 410 Bridge being there to help the families that need it the most. And none of that would be possible without your support. So I just want to say again this week, thank you for everything that you do. We're grateful for you being part of the 410 Bridge family. The first phase is over, and we are now moving into the second phase. It's going to be a bigger phase. But we couldn't do it without your support. So thank you for that support. We'll update our webpage, our COVID relief webpage, with really how many households have been impacted, how many households still need to be impacted over the coming weeks. So look for that. Keep the encouragement letters coming, the social media, certainly the prayers. We covet that, especially for our Haitian staff and the community members, the most vulnerable people, the high-risk people living in our communities. We'd appreciate that as well. So I'll be back again next week. Thank you again for being part of 410 family. We're grateful for you. We couldn't do it without you. Talk to you next week.